Good morning, beautiful souls. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Woodland Chronicles, week 11, 1-1. It's a big master number, but I'm more surprised at just how fast we're kind of moving through this particular period at the moment. And I've been talking on a regular basis about the passage of time, and I covered this in my live talk in Emsworth on Saturday night, and also it has been spoken about by many people about how we no longer have the set quantity of time flowing through our days that we used to. But that, on the grand scheme of things, is very much just part of the big Ascension stew pot that we're kind of simmering on a high heat at the moment and kind of stirring on a regular basis. And I've just been sat here listening to the beautiful kind of uptick in spring bird song, and we are literally, checks his watch, it's the 17th today, and we've got 3 days before the equinox, the equinox, the spring in the north, autumn in the south. And what an equinox it is due to be. We've got the 6 planets in Aries, and this is also combined with I spoke about this previously, and so did Pam Gregory extensively, about how the position of Saturn in Pisces just floods like a tsunami of high frequency golden light energy, water energy, through the rigid structures of the previous Capricorn setting, and it's shaking the foundations quite incredibly. And what we're experiencing is a total reset of our consciousness, our nervous systems, our timelines, our focus points. And it's like being in the middle of a busy intersection, say in the middle of London or New York or Tokyo or something like that. There are cars literally going in all directions, and if you're trying to say cross the road, you've got to kind of taking your incarnation into your own hands and trusting on the love of the gods to get across the road, kind of thing. And it's a little bit like that. There is so much going on in the field that it's, as well as kind of dealing with this expectation that we have upon our nervous system, it is also becoming increasingly an art form to keep ourselves completely focused on having our light high, eye on the prize, where we're supposed to be going and what we're actually doing. And this is partly due to the quantity of information that we have at our fingertips, but also the amount of balls in the air that the 3D, the kind of the leaders of the 3D system have now put into the juggling system. I mean, if you watch a juggler, say an acrobat or a performer, they will usually juggle between 3 and 5 balls with maybe kind of like, something fancy put in there, and it's controllable. But more and more of these kind of juggling implements have been added to the balancing act, and now it's getting to the point where it's almost unmanageable, and balls are starting to be dropped, and the juggling act is starting to become very evidently overburdened, overwhelmed. And I've seen so many very positive analysis, versions of reality and varying individual analyses of what's occurring by people, say on YouTube or coming in on Facebook, and they are filled with confidence. They are filled with the power of the light when they are speaking about how the actions of the 3D, you know, the leaders of 3D, our old reality, those that are seeking to control the world, have already failed, and we know it, and they know it, and they know that we know it. But the cycle has to continue. It has to continue on its current trajectory because it's been bought, it's been paid for, all of the systems are in place. And one by one, as we go through, they just will come to a stop. They will come to a halt. But in order for them to do so effectively, for us to be able to retain our light, retain our field power, stay as high frequency as possible, we're having to be very, very focused, very vigilant. I've spoken so many times about the spiritual diet, which isn't just what you have on the plate of your plate of food in front of you. It's every single little thing that you put into your body. It could be coffee, it could be a swift pint after work, or it could be what you eat after, say, a workout, or it's what you digest from social media. It's the words that you speak and interact with friends and colleagues and all other souls. What are you focused on at the moment? Is it the pressure that you are under? Is it how you are personally feeling? And if you are feeling low, if you're feeling burdened, if you're feeling negative, we are being asked to take everything that we do up a notch. And interestingly enough, there is all of our bodies are temples. Okay, we've overlooked this. I mean, many people haven't, but the majority, or the picture that's been sold to everybody who's been plugged into the previous reality, is that it's almost like a throwaway item. It's got a limited, you know, the body's got a limited time on this planet, so you might as well enjoy it. Hey, you know, stick anything that you want into, you know, like just make sure that you're happy going through the motions. And that is obviously very much contradictory to the sacred, the sacredity of our human vessel. You and I, we are representatives of our oversoul and our monad. So I've spoken previously about what a monad is, and I've also had many questions about what a monad is. A monad consists of 144 souls divided into groups of 12. So each of the 12 is named an oversoul, and there's 12 groups of 12 souls that are embraced within the love and the wisdom of the monad. So every time we come down, we are a representative. Okay, we choose our pathway and our incarnation very much based on if we've got anything to pay off previously, say karma from previous life, lessons that we maybe didn't learn, people that we have unfinished business with. And all of this gets added to this very probably lengthy soul contract scroll that we sign and we engage with before we come down here. And it's all preset. So the aspect of us, you and me, occupying this precious vessel, it's becoming more and more apparent that the sanctity of that vessel is paramount, and that all ties into the great and infinite and you know, increasingly well researched subject of self-love. Self-love is everything at the end of the day. As within, so without. What we give to ourselves, we have the capacity to then give to others, and we cannot logically continue to give to others if we haven't given to ourselves. And so that is a massive learning curve for most of us. But what I want to look at a little bit this morning is, again, the nervous system, and why so many of us are kind of crying out for that peace, that sanctuary that we need more than anything else. in the middle of this chaotic storm, this storm of shift. And I've got 2 workshops next week. I've got the third and the final part of the World Tree, which I'm running with Lavisa, and that has been such a learning curve for me, bringing in the aspects of the Norse energies that I haven't connected with yet in this lifetime, and I'm only now doing so. And also the workshop that I'm doing with David on the Wednesday, on the 22nd, where we are literally looking at us, the human nervous system, in the process or in the middle of ascension, and how to deal with it, how to calm it down. And I had a very interesting question, actually, or an email from a soul who has been following my workshops for some considerable period of time. And it was a question about the working with the Norse gods and the Norse energies. It's like these souls were widely regarded as being kind of, you know, they were revered in brutal times by, you know, the life back in those days was survival. It was pure survival. So everybody was geared up. They were fixed at that frequency. And what's most interesting is that everything that was written back in those days was written by people, if it hasn't been changed or altered in any way, who were in that state of survival. So there will be a version of all of the souls that we work and connect with at a higher level available on a much lower level. So the question was, well, why are you working with gods and goddesses and lore and history that is kind of steeped in very dark, you know, like dense, dark and violent times? And that's because the version that we are connecting with now is not of that energy. It's of an ascension energy. They're stepping forwards to bring this incredible and very much needed divine masculine and divine feminine warrior energy, because that's the one thing that has been remarkably lacking on this planet, is not just through lack of, say, courage or integrity, but mostly through programming. I mean, the whole system that we unplugged ourselves from via the Alta Major was programmed and into complacency, into just sitting back, being fed, nourished and watered by what's coming through the TV screen or the junk food on the shelves. And that has had a remarkable effect on the souls that live on planet Earth. And of course, there's the old saying that the hard times make strong individuals, and there hasn't been a particularly challenging time on this planet up until the shift into this new frequency. So of course, to rise up from that state of complacency, of doing nothing and having it all done for us, something has had to occur. And in order to re-establish that divine warrior energy, there have to be souls that are there holding the light and anchoring it in solidly, in order for us to actually move and merge and mesh into that framework. And that's what I'm finding the most powerful kind of benefit, more than anything else, is of connecting with the Norse energy, of the Norse energies, is they are so strongly grounded, but strongly grounded in the way that they are doing what is right. Now, that's one of the toughest things on the ascension pathway, or any pathway, is to stand in your light, your truth and your integrity, when perhaps or possibly you are faced by a sea of souls who are saying that you are wrong. And to have the courage and the integrity to actually still stand in your truth, knowing in your heart that you are speaking words of truth and love and light, and you are acting out of integrity, that, having now seen that beginning to really play out on this world for the last 3 years or so, I mean, there's of course there's people that have been standing up in so many different aspects, but it's happening en masse now. We're regaining our voices, aren't we? All of us. we're regaining the ability to speak from the throat chakra via the heart. There's one very specific process that I saw happening a little while ago where the energy of the 5D heart merged with the fifth dimensional throat, so the two work in harmony. One does not speak words without first engaging with the heart, and that way it absolutely ensures that what we are bringing forth is filled with love. It is filled with vibrations of truth. It might not necessarily be what other people want to hear, but it resonates at a frequency that strikes a chord that has that platform vibration, an element of truth working through it. And when those words are spoken and when those actions are taken, the rest of the world or the environment around it reforms itself to vibrate at that frequency. So that's what we are doing. This is all a process of alchemy that is occurring on this earth around us at the moment, but it requires souls that are grounded and strong and centered in their heart and their truth and their integrity to actually bring that through. And it's not been an easy one. I understand that from many different perspectives, but that's what I've loved the most about connecting with these energies. And so it was an interesting question, but then again, everything that has been written by human beings as far as history is concerned is simply a story provided by the person recording it. And the way that things are being written now are very, very different because they're being written from a higher perspective. So those that are recording what is occurring at the moment are doing so, and they're doing so from a point of integrity. They're not doing it from their own personal slant or perspective. Things are being put down and set in motion that are of that platform of light, truth, unity, love and integrity. So again, it's an interesting time, and interesting times, and that's why I think again that our nervous systems feel like they are under such pressure, because there's a conflict. There's a continual conflict with what we knew and what is, and that in itself can cause the fight and the flight response, the trauma that we feel internally of what's comfortable and what's correct. And so we will continue to go through this process until what's right becomes the norm, and that everybody is living at that vibration and that frequency. And all of the stuff that is steeped in illusion, the carnival show, all of the things that are occurring that are designed specifically as a distraction, just simply fall away. And many times I've thought myself over the years, and I've been asked the question, well, how is this world going to run when we are all functioning from a place of integrity, love and truth? And obviously we're not going to be kind of catapulted or transported off to another planet where we can live like this. It's happening here and now in the world around you. You are the change, okay? You are the change that you wish to see in the world. So everything around you will reform at that timeline, at that frequency and that vibration. And it's a case of critical mass, okay? So whereas previously 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and more years ago, we were isolated in our anchorings, in our belief systems, in what we knew to be right. But now that is just literally, it's like a light bulbs popping on all around the planet. And we can thank many times the actions of the control matrix, where we came from, for providing us with such an easy platform to wake people up, because the truth frees itself. Once it's been set free, it works completely. It's like a wildfire that travels through everything, and that wildfire will be particularly ignited as the equinox springs into action on the 20th. There's a very powerful 3-day period occurring between the 20th and the 23rd. And the only way that I can describe it is that a little bit like multiple fireworks or or torch papers being lit in the constructions of the 3D matrix, and it just burns with sacred fire provided by this incredible Aries setup. I think it's 6 planets in Aries. Of course, if I'm wrong, the budding astrologers amongst you will correct me, no doubt. But it's all based around that spark energy, the ignition of the new world. And the 23rd, obviously, many of us are now strongly feeling that the 1st of January is not the new year. The 1st of that was altered and changed, and the new year, the actual new year as it was originally kind of orchestrated to be, is the 23rd. It's the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere, and that's how the time and the space rolls out accordingly. So we've got a lot to look forward to on that, and it's going to be requiring us to witness from a very high perspective, because again, we are probably going to be shown things that press our survival buttons. You know, oh, that's a bit of a red flag for me here. It's igniting my nervous system. I've got stuff within my DNA and my chakras and my emotional bodies that are going to get very triggered by this. But again, we return back to the heart center, back to the light, and ultimately the trust in the universe that every single thing that's going on around us is designed specifically to move us forwards into the next stage and awakening level of our consciousness. So it's all about the equinox. It's all about how much work can we get done, how much anchoring of the light can we achieve in this very precious, very highly charged period of time that we're being presented with. So I'm looking forward to it. You can feel it building now. So for those of you that will be joining Lavisa and I on the Monday, crows are very noisy this morning. So those of you joining Lavisa and I on the Monday, look forward to seeing you there. And those of you that are joining David and I on the Wednesday, I look forward to seeing you there as well. Both events are going to be fabulous, and sending you all so much love. And of course, I'll be back on Monday morning with a meditation. Bye for now.